everyone, and welcome back to a year in the TikTok of Anti-Diet Pilot. So this may very well be our last year in the TikTok ever, because TikTok, it looks like it's getting banned as of tomorrow. I am recording this on Saturday before the TikTok ban is supposed to take place. I don't know what's going to happen from here, and I don't know where everyone's going to go from here. So there's probably going to be a little bit of a change in content after this week. I am going to focus for a while on podcasts, which means videos may also look a little different because I got a new GoPro for Christmas and it is not, the videos on the GoPro are not compatible with this very old video editing software I've been using. So I've been playing with a different one. And so the videos might look a little bit different in that realm as well. Um, so yeah, just a whole lot of change. I am going to see, I'm not convinced that the TikTok ban, if it does take effect, I'm not convinced that it's going to stay around for very long. I don't know. There's just something, the TikTok ban, like it seems like now that the Biden administration is trying to do something to prevent the TikTok ban from fully taking, it's weird. It's a weird shit that's going on. But in the meantime, we'll be covering podcasts. I was gonna revisit the looking at different airlines' customer of size policies and kind of analyzing those. And then also, I found this what they call a fat archive, which is a bunch of old fat acceptance zines and newsletters. So I figured we could take a look at those as well. So we have some supplies for content while I figure out where all of the fat acceptance people went. So without further ado, let's just go ahead and enjoy this year in the TikTok for what it is, and we'll see if TikTok becomes available again and what we can do with it. You know?
I would rather be unemployed than ever work in an office ever again. And when I see people who talk about how much they hate working from home, I'm like, what is wrong with you? Let me tell you some of the reasons I will never go back into an office. Number one, I save about $12,000 a year because I get to live in a walkable city and I don't own a car. I also don't have to buy shoes or clothes or makeup on a regular basis because I don't really use it. I just got off work and this is how I was dressed. So if you're like me and have a dog, you probably take your dog to doggy daycare like once or twice a week. At about $40 a day, that's about $2,000 to $4,000 a year. And the biggest one is food. Even if you're only getting coffee and lunch like once, twice, 3 times a week, that's about $2,500 a year. The main reason I will never go back into an office is because of how much time is wasted. It used to take me about 30 to 45 minutes to get ready in the morning, plus about a 30-minute commute there. My commute home was much longer, but we'll just keep it the same, about 30 minutes. That's 120 hours a year. When I think about how much I make per hour, kind of, times 120, it makes me want to throw up. There's also some pretty priceless benefits of working from home. You can take a nap in your bed on your lunch break. You can cook in your full kitchen on your lunch break. You can get off a call and curse your lungs out because you're in complete privacy. You can cuddle with your dog in between meetings. You can cuddle with your dog during meetings. You can run errands in the middle of the day. If you're having a bad day, you can just keep your cameras off. So, like I said, I would rather be unemployed than ever work in an office ever again.
So this here's the thing. I actually agree with her in terms of working from home. It's one of those I don't have an office job, so I can't vouch for that. There are some jobs where like the idea of me trying to thankfully I managed to miss distance learning for COVID. Like that was the year before I started my student teaching. Um so I missed that. But my God, I would not do that. You could not pay me enough to do that. I would switch careers because students in their own rooms with a bunch of distractions are entirely almost impossible to keep on task. Like they can mute you and just go about their own fucking day, and like half of the parents out there aren't going to monitor their children to make sure that they're doing what they're supposed to do. We had when I was working at an elementary school, we had a parent call the office in like they weren't in tears, but they were like really frustrated, saying they couldn't get their fourth grader up and on the computer for a Zoom class, and were asking the office to help them. And the office people were willing to do it. They're like, okay, hand the phone to the kid, and then they're like starting to scold the kid and almost parent the kid. It was wild. It was wild. I'm like, they're 9. They're 9. Get their ass up and put them on the computer. um, so there are jobs where being in person is important. However, she is talking about office jobs. Um, I think that saying that you would rather be unemployed than working in an office job again, kind of to me, I'm like, have you ever been like financially hard up? Because on the grand scheme of things with difficulty, if you need the money, you'll work in an office job. So to say that you'd rather be unemployed, I don't know, there's something about that rubs me the wrong way. I overall though understand and agree with her points. If I was working in a position where it would make sense, where I could easily do my job from home, and it would make sense for me to do from my job from home, I would absolutely prefer to do my job from home. Um, but if you're an office worker, I'd like to hear your opinions on this as well. Uh, Personally though, as a teacher, do I enjoy the 30-minute commute? No. Do I enjoy spending, half hour, 45 minutes getting ready? No. But I would take that over trying to get everyone to pay attention on Zoom. So that's me.
Diamonds under my eyes. Turn on the just come along for the ride. Pull my outfit so tight, you can see my heartbeat. Diamonds under my eyes. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let me kiss, baby, if you want some more. Push it, why keep working? I'm perfect. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let me kiss, baby, if you want some more.
Alright, this just seems to be an exercise montage with a caption that says exercise should be a celebration of what your body can do, not to cancel out what you eat or punish yourself for how it looks. So I think that this is a very two people can approach exercise for looks in two very different ways. You view it as punishing, some people view it as motivation. Like the motivation of I'm unhappy with how I look, so I'm going to exercise. So, confession time. Since I've started my teaching job, I am a lot less active. I'm getting half as much activity as I was before, and that's come with a learning curve. Unfortunately, I've gained about 10 pounds. Um, and I've been able to recognize it. I've been able to realize, oh, that's right. I'm not moving nearly as much, but I'm eating the same. That's why I gained weight. But here's the thing. I've been strength training through and through. Like I kept my strength training routine. So the weight is sitting a little differently on me. I can still tell that I've gained weight, but family members and stuff saying like have said like we've looked at pictures of when I was the same weight, but I was not working out the way I am now, and the weight just sits differently on me. And they're like, "Yeah, you've gained weight, but you don't look as big as you did then." I still want to lose weight. I still want to get back on track and lose the weight that I've gained and more. But part of the motivation for me exercising is that I do like that the weight sits differently on me. It looks better. It's still more than I would like, but it looks better than it did previously. So you can be motivated to exercise for looks. I don't think that focusing on exercise for weight loss is the answer. It's definitely about managing calories. Exercise helps, but it's not that old adage you can't outrun a bad diet is very true. But you can be motivated to work out for looks um, without it necessarily being something toxic, you know?
It's time to renew my driver's license. Expires in 2 days. Hopefully I have all the right documents now. This will be my third time attempting to renew here in Chicago. This photo is from 2018, although the last time I renewed my license was online, so I didn't have to take a new photo. I feel like I look pretty similar. I just don't straighten my hair and I have giant lashes now. For the past week, I've been looking at driver's license makeup, passport makeup, but then I stumbled upon Alicia Marie's video where she almost got denied her flight because she didn't look like her ID. And I don't want that to happen to me. So we're still going to go glam, but not ham. I feel like House Labs was perfect. I am kind of slightly on a rush because I am doing this on my lunch break. So because I'm a dumb bitch and didn't color correct, I'm gonna have to leave this on. Patrick Ta for contour. Trust the process. Blush, I'm going She's That Girl by Patrick Ta. Chill. I'm gonna blend. Love. I am such a creasing fuck. I feel like my under eyes look insane. Hopefully Huda Beauty can come through and neutral.
This isn't as interesting as I thought it would be. But what caught my attention
Last time I renewed my license.
was the license. This is a Washington driver's license. Um, why are so many fat acceptance people in Washington State? I was watching a cynical dude reacts just recently to a J-Bay clip, and J-Bay was getting healthcare in Kennewick, Washington. Kennewick, Washington. And for anyone who doesn't know where Kennewick is, it's closer to Portland than it is to Seattle. If anyone knows where Walla Walla is, it's around that area. It's south of Yakima. But it's like, how many people? How many, like, why is the Pacific Northwest seems to be the hub of fat acceptance? Why? Wasn't, I think Washington State was also the one that we saw that tweet where they're like, there's more to your body size than just diet and exercise or whatever, and it was from like the Washington Department of Health, which was absolutely fucking bonkers. Why are so many fat acceptance people in Washington State? I don't like it. I grew up in Washington State. I don't want but it to be taken over by fat acceptance people. Seattle already isn't what it was, 15 years ago. Like, I mean, obviously, but it's Seattle kind of had a funky vibe when I was growing up, and now it feels like it's become very sterilized, very corporate with random drug activity. But I don't know, maybe that's a difference of um and actually I haven't been to Seattle in a few years, so that was my take on it about 3 or 4 years ago. But maybe that's just the difference of a child size versus an adult size. I don't know. But my bigger question is, why are so many fat acceptance people in Washington State? So the captions say, I once felt guilty and ashamed for occasionally opting to walk while others ran, but there are something when I crave low impact cardio, even if I was running for the previous rounds. Not every day's workout has to follow the same pace. So this is one thing that I kind of support. There are days when I can tell I'm full of energy, and so I'll run and I'll like those are the days where I will test and see how far I can go, how hard I can run for how the longest length of time possible, and I'll really push myself. And then there are days when I'm like my joints hurt because I have a PMDD issue with my like it's PMDD is primarily like a physiological psychological phenomenon, but part of that for me can also have some level of physical symptoms, and part of that for me is inflamed joints. It's really fun. It's fun when all the joints in my feet are inflamed and it hurts to walk. Those days I just give myself a break and don't do my workout at all. But when I'm feeling like I can do a modified version of a workout, I do. I do it. But I will walk instead of run, and I will go for my base number of reps per set instead of trying to max myself out. This isn't even a matter of fat acceptance or anything. This is a matter of you know your body's limits some, And so you kind of have to, it's better to do something and sustain the habit than it is to do nothing and lose the habit. I'm gonna just leave it there.
Oh, you could never eat a quesadilla because it has too much cheese? Damn. Oh, you could never eat a quesadilla.
So, one who's saying that, although I do like that someone said some of us are lactose intolerant and are break out from too much dairy. Yeah, like this, I will never understand these make believe statements that are said to some of these fat acceptance people. But granted, I'm also sometimes shocked by the amount of things that people are like willing to say when they could have just kept their mouth shut. But some people really like this doesn't even work well because cheese is a food that even if someone isn't lactose intolerant, it can sit heavy in their stomach. There, like for me, I won't eat dairy past a certain point of night because it gives me heartburn. Same with bread. Like there's just certain foods that you have to avoid because of whatever is going on with your body. Like this is one of those things where it's like you're not doing something good for you for having a fucking quesadilla. You want to have like a quesadilla, a chicken and cheese quesadilla, go for it. It doesn't make you better. I don't understand this weird attempt at a flex. It's so strange.
So change of plans. They don't actually have the donut. So they're refunding me right now. Yeah, we did not get a maple bar. We did not get any other donut. And I feel like that goes to show how intrusive my perfectionist tendencies around food are. Like it's insane. Like good morning. This
I don't really she's mentioned perfectionist tendencies around food a couple of times. I don't remember if I showed them all, but she has mentioned this a couple of times. And I don't really understand that. Like if you're craving a maple bar, they don't have a maple bar, so you don't sell for anything else. That's actually kind of good because that means that when you're not settling and taking in unnecessary calories, although I'm sure she wouldn't appreciate that sentiment. But like I don't view that as perfectionist. I view that as you know what you want and when you can't get it you would rather have nothing. Like people have that perspective and that mentality and that attitude about a number of things, not just around food. For you it's food, but like people have that mentality around a number of things. It's not I don't know, I just never viewed it as perfectionistic. Also that we're honoring our craving cues and going and getting a maple bar. I want to be clear. If you're like I've been wanting this for a couple of days or even just all day and you go and have it, I'm not like shaming you for wanting that or whatever, but the craving of a maple bar, the craving of like any highly processed item with a lot of sugar is most likely just a craving for sugar. Genuinely, when you eat, and actually I would say here's the funny thing, because I've been eating plenty of sugar but I have been completely avoiding high fructose corn syrup and my sugar cravings have gone down. So I don't know if it's a craving for sugar or if it's a craving specifically for high fructose corn syrup. Eating sugar, don't get me wrong, I still probably eat too much sugar. And I can acknowledge that. But I felt my cravings for sugar go down as I've been eating more high quality sweets. And high quality sweets often means it wasn't intentional to go this way, but I've noticed that most of the stuff that I intake now does not have high fructose corn syrup, and so I've been more satisfied with less, and I crave sugar less than I did before. So when it comes to honoring your cravings, especially in regards of like something sweet or something. I'm not saying don't, but I am saying maybe try to make a switch, like baby steps for everything. But maybe try to avoid high fructose corn syrup and see if you don't crave it as much.
the amount of self-control it took not to do a taste test before I got back. I just think this looks magical and I really want to try it. So. Okay, so here she is. I'm gonna try her not mixed first. Really good. And now I'm going to mix it. And I'm gonna pull the straw up so I can get a little bit more in the middle. This is really good. This is such a good drink. I ordered the brownie batter donut.
Okay, I'm sorry. There's something I think it was the lip smacking after she tried. It gave me such Amberlynn vibes. It and then the like I am I wrong? Am I wrong? Am I being a picky bitch? Or did like the Amberlynn Reed vibes?
But they were out when I got there. So instead, I got my second favorite donut, which is an apple fritter. Ugh.
I genuinely don't understand how someone can have such a sugary drink and a donut together and not maybe she does crash, but I'm like that seems like an absolute sugar crash in an hour. I would be so fueled with sugar, I would be vibrating and then I would crash hard. No, thank you.
Hard as fuck. For the actual breakfast, I got my favorite breakfast sandwich from Dunkin', which is their sweet pepper croissant. You know the one I'm talking about. If you've tried the brownie batter donut, please let me know if it's good. I'm gonna get it tomorrow.
Okay, not trying to knock a hearty breakfast. I actually don't even have a problem with a croissant bun. Like, there's butter in there. It's, well, maybe not Dunkin' Donuts probably isn't the highest quality of bread, but like, I don't necessarily have a problem with you having a starchy breakfast. I think that it's a lot of carbs when paired with, it's a lot of, not even just carbs, because if this was the croissant sandwich with like a huge plate of veggies, then it wouldn't be an issue. But it's a lot of simple carbs, simple high processed sugary carbs. And I know that she doesn't want to hear this, but it's just something that I noticed, so I have to talk about it. But she has this sandwich that is 90% bread, along with an apple fritter and diabetes in a cup. This is if you have an issue with like crashing or being exhausted or needing naps, first thing to check is is that usually preceded by a high carb or high sugar meal? Because if it is, then the reason for the crash is the blood sugar spikes. Well, the spike and then the drop, you know what I mean. But we're gonna just move on.
Me and my ex have a very toxic relationship for almost the past 10 years. We have this thing where he pisses me off, I block him, then I unblock him, then I give him another chance, he fucks up, and then we start over the process. Now, this has been going on for almost 10 years. It's like almost like our 10-year anniversary, if you will. And I feel like he's trying to spice things up because I went to go unblock him and send him a couple messages, and none of them went through. I tried to send videos, texts, voice memos, everything. Nothing is sending. So I was like, oh, that's weird. Well, the fact of the matter is I really didn't want to talk to him, so I'll probably be over in the morning, except for the fact that I just finished the last episode of season 8 of Suits on Netflix, and Donna and Harvey shared the most passionate kiss I've ever fucking seen. I watched that scene over 100 times. I'm crying, I'm in shambles, and now I know it's going to take me at least 24 hours to get over the situation where my ex is ignoring me and has me blocked, and I'm probably never going to speak to him again, even though he's been in my life on and off again for literally almost 10 years. That's kind of depressing. That's okay, though. I'm fine. I'm fine. Except for the fact that literally 23 hours, almost on the fucking dot, I get a notification from Google Maps saying that he shared his ETA with me. Mind you, we do not live in the same city. He had like 15 minutes to get to this place that he was going. And I was like, oh my God. I feel like he's trying to tell me that he wants to see me. We have telepathy, and he is like, girl, come see me. He knows I can't see him tonight, so he's trying to be like really cryptic, and he's just like, I'm still in my city. Please come visit. So, I don't know. I feel like it's kind of romantic. Me and my ex have a very
Honestly, this has given me so much insight into justice here because honestly, it was never diet culture, it was never beauty standards. You have an unhealthy relationship to reality a little bit. This is if this is at all that guy that we saw the series of text messages from, which I think it is, you two are not good together. Why the fuck do you keep going back? And then you're saying it's romantic when he blocks you, but then gives you the ETA of where he is. Girl, stop contacting him. You guys have had a huge, like, honestly, this this is a toxic relationship, and it kind of goes hand in hand with her toxic perceptions of relationships in general, like her toxic expectations, and her like all or nothing view on like fat acceptance related stuff and food. Like you say you have perfectionistic tendencies. Honestly, I'm seeing some lineups with other areas of your life. I don't mean this in a derogatory manner. I want to be clear because I really hate when people use go to therapy or whatever as like a dig. That's not my intention at all. But she really seems like someone who needs therapy to kind of break one her own cycles and break this just from watching her. I feel this like almost roller coaster of emotions that has a level of intensity to it that I can only imagine would be exhausting. I think for her, she needs some tools or something on how to maybe not go to the extremes, especially that we've seen her in, and to live a healthier life. Like I genuinely think that she needs to someone to talk to, someone to kind of help her see her really self-destructive behavioral patterns.
Women are never safe. I just took this photo 10 minutes ago while walking along the Chicago River with my dog this morning. It's a beautiful day here in Chicago. There's tons of people out. It is broad daylight, 11 a.m., crowded. There's this girl here. She obviously just finished her run. Her face is red. She's breathing heavy and she has her AirPods in. She's on the phone. And then there's this thing. This thing about 500 meters or yards, I don't freaking know, but a while back was so close to her where it was really, really crowded. And to me, I'm not thinking much of it. I'm like, maybe it's like her dad or grandpa. He's respecting the fact that she's on the phone. And it's kind of like single file where you're walking. So maybe he's respecting the space around him. Like, did not think much of it until this man lets more distance between them and pulls out his phone. Boomers are so obvious when they're about to record something, but the river is this way. So why is your phone here? Why are your elbows out? Of course, I'm walking behind him, so I walk to the side so I can get a better view, and it is very obvious what's going on. So at this point, this man stops. I'm walking behind him, so naturally I walk in front of him. This man doesn't walk. He doesn't fast walk. He doesn't jog. He sprints to get back in front of me. Sprints. At this point, 100 yards back, there's another man who is looking this way. The man looks at this man, looks at me, and shakes his head. So now I have full confirmation of what is going on. But it's like, what do I do? This is when I took this photo because I was so conflicted. What do I do? Do I run up to this woman and be like, hey, this man behind you is recording you. He's just staring at you. He's been following you for a while. I know you're on the phone. Like, I'm so sorry. What's she gonna do? Waddle? She has no layers. Like, she's gonna waddle with her hands behind her back? Or it might piss off this guy. He might cause a scene. He might start yelling. He might unalive me. He might unalive both of us. Like, what do you do in this situation? Women are never safe.
So this I've seen I don't think that this is an exaggeration. There are creepers all around. Um and there are people that will follow others and record like it is messed up. I just kind of wanted to comment on if you guys are both going if you and the girl are both going the same way, jog up to her, act like you're friends, and you guys can just walk together until you get to a because this area looks secluded, so maybe just walk together until you guys get to a more crowded area, at least. Yeah, I would be curious to know what you would do. But this doesn't seem, it doesn't feel exaggerated to me, especially because I've seen stuff like this before as well. And yeah, people can be creeps. There was a time when thankfully, I have a treadmill now, but there was a time when I was first trying to get into to running, and I was running on this trail that goes by a park and then goes up, and I was would run back, extending up to 3 miles. And there was one guy that was clearly going through his um like midlife crisis in a convertible shades. This was during the summer. And I was running, I was breathing heavy, and I was walking back towards. He pulls up to the curb and then makes kissy lips at me before he drives away. But he before he drives away, he like stares at me and watches me go past. It was creepy as fuck. Men can be like real creeps. So can women. But yeah, this is be careful out there, guys. All right. I'm sorry. We've been following her relationship stuff, so I gotta mention this. It's her. It's a image of her crying with a caption that says "It makes no sense," and then a series of once again highlighted text messages. These seem to be her going to the other person. It says it's a yes or no question. I don't need your philosophy. Don't ever have kids. The world doesn't need another you. You could actually be a great man, but you chose to be a pile of shit. I never liked you, just an idea of you that doesn't exist. And I'm not just gonna let it go because intelligent people use this thing called deductive reasoning. And don't text me while you're drunk because I don't care. The lack of self awareness at the age of 35 is beyond baffling. That's a reach, but if that's the narrative you want to believe, then so be it. Your inability to grasp the reality of the situation is not my problem. Let's see. I don't want to talk. I just want you to know that look, I think it's but that you look like George Santos. Whatever guy I end up with will be the luckiest man in the world, and because you don't have that point of view, this will never ever work. Like, girl, stop. Stop. I don't understand how she keeps going back and like she's being this is all her saying this. And it's like you guys are individually toxic and toxic together. And we've seen how, don't get me wrong, I don't think this is the right guy for her. And from the sounds of it, they're both equally toxic. So this isn't just a her issue, but I do feel the need to mention her astronomical expectations of people she dates that we've seen in some other TikToks. So part of it is her ridiculously high expectations of people, but then the other part of it is that this is just a toxic fucking dynamic, and you are becoming your worst self with him, and yet you keep going back. Why? I don't understand. I don't get it. I don't understand how someone who talks about prioritizing their mental health and stuff in the way of like not doing diets anymore would then turn around and purposefully continue to expose themselves to this toxic relationship that does nothing good for their mental health and turns them into a very nasty person in text. Like, what the hell? I don't I don't understand. I genuinely just don't understand.
I'm going to take the heat since no one else will, and I'll talk about this. The fact that there are influencers who built gigantic followings based on their conversations around body positivity, healing your relationship with food and with exercise, who have now done a complete 180 and are now talking about weight loss medications, weight loss surgeries, and just like being on a weight loss journey in general, literally just making coffee or eating their fucking breakfast talking about the shit is insane. That should literally be illegal. The fact that there's one particular influencer who built over 300,000 followers talking about her ED recovery journey and is now every single day talking about the fact that she's intentionally losing weight to those same exact followers. You have to be out of your like the my brain I can't wrap my head around. Like, I've had to unfollow so many of my mutuals because this behavior is just so despicable. I really thought that the people in my mutual circle were the real ones.
One, you're taking this entirely too personal. You're taking this entirely too personal. People can change, and just because someone is intentionally losing weight doesn't mean that they are against the body positivity to begin with. Body positivity can be focused on doing what's best for your health, depending on the level of obesity that these uh, body positivity influencers had before they switched to more of a weight loss focus is uh, can like influence how much they need to lose weight for their health. And the one that was in ED recovery and is now losing weight, you can lose weight in a healthy way. And I think that that is, if anything, shows that they are coming out on the other side of their ED if they are able to pursue weight loss in a very healthy and sustainable way and not to go back to disordered eating. You are taking this entirely too personally. I don't really understand how you're like, this should be illegal. People can change their minds about what they want to focus on, especially over the course of a few years. People change a lot. And this isn't about you. By all means, if it bothers you that much, unfollow them. Like I'm not saying, you should continue to follow them or whatever. Much unlike the fat acceptance group, I believe in allowing each person to do what they need to do for themselves. If you don't like that person's content anymore, by all means, stop following them and move on. But I think you're taking this entirely too personally, and two, I don't think that it's going back on their body positivity roots per se. If this is what they need, if they are at a weight where they can realistically look at weight loss surgery, then they may very well need it. When it comes to weight loss medications, I am of kind of a two minds on that one. I don't really like it. It all comes down to how they promote it. If they're talking about their experience with the weight loss drug and how it's helping them or how it's not helping them or the side effects or whatever, that's one thing. I don't like it when people promote, oh guys, you gotta talk to your doctor about this, you gotta get this, you gotta, this kind of promotion as a cure all is where weight loss medication influencers that are using weight loss medications bug me. It's a very individualized thing. If it's working for you, great. But I don't believe in marketing it the way you would a skincare routine, uh, or makeup or whatever. That's my perspective, though.
The men really decided amongst themselves to make themselves even more undesirable to women. This is how men are going to act like women. I would rather just hang out with women and the population. For centuries, it has been the case that men are protectors and providers. Let them be in their soft boy era. Let them alone try to like throw it back in our faces and be like, see, it's ridiculous. No, it's ridiculous coming from you. Let me be very clear when I say this. This is a movement formed by broke men. Men who have the means to be a provider. They don't act like this. They are more than happy to provide for you in the way that you need as a woman. I am thankful for the men who have started this movement. The only men who want to have a soft girl life are the broke ones. The fact that men are coming on here and talking about how we have to settle, we don't have to do anything. Like, you can make more money or you will end up alone, period. And if you don't like that, you as a man should be going into government and trying to change the way that the economics currently are in this country. Do something positive. The men really decided among.
So here's the thing. I actually initially saw this and went down a whole soft guy era TikTok compilation thing on YouTube. And honestly, I have issues with both sides. Like the soft guy era, here's the thing. There are women that would love a soft guy. There are. But to put it up as like we're getting back at women, one, it gives very red pill vibes just from a different perspective for me. And the women getting mad at the soft men, just don't date them then. Don't date them. Like, if they think that if we have seen women that do some of what the soft guys are doing as like a see this is ridiculous sort of thing, and that is what it is. There's ridiculousness on both sides. It's very much like if this is what those in the soft boy, movement want, by all means, let them continue that life. And if they meet someone that wants them as they are, fantastic for them. If you don't want a guy like that, don't date one. I don't think there's a reason to necessarily call them broke. I think that human relationships and romantic dynamics can have any number of ways of looking. So, like, it is what it is. I think that there's unnecessary comments on both sides, for sure. I think some of the soft guys take it too far to the point where sometimes it seems like they don't even like women. They just want to be derogatory towards them. But then also calling them like Justice here, calling them, broke men and degrading them, I don't think is the answer either. overall, I think the whole thing is stupid. I'm very much like, you live your life how you want. I guess it just like doesn't affect me, so I don't really care. But I don't really think there's a need to respond to this. If the soft guys felt that strongly about the 4B movement to the point where they felt the need to take that, that's fine. It doesn't change anything. It doesn't change. You want it again with the MGTOW group, men going their own way. Go your own way. I don't care. So many of these people that are like, oh yeah, you're doing this? Well, I'm gonna do this. How do you like that? How about you guys just worry about your own fucking lives? You don't want this type of person? Don't date that type of person. It's not rocket science. I feel sometimes when I watch shit like this, I feel like that teacher where you have two students arguing and you're like, both of you sit on opposite sides of the room, don't look at each other. All right, don't look at each other, don't talk to each other, don't wave to each other, don't think about each other, don't acknowledge each other. Here's your work, do your math problems, and please, for the love of God, shut up.
I'm here to show off my new bag. I just got her last week. If you know, you know. And if you don't know, I'm so sorry. But I love this bag because it looks like a cute little fortune cookie for night. But then like for daytime, just cute and cash. I feel like she's so perfect. Versatile, really light, comfortable because if you know, you know. Best leather ever. I'm here to show off my new bag. I just got her last.
I I don't know what this bag was supposed to be or anything. Her like, if you don't know, I'm so sorry sort of shit. Like, talk about being elite. It's like, please, it's a fucking bag. I don't care. This is one of those things where it's like, okay, I don't remember if I said this, but I've been shopping on ThredUp, right? And they've had some Louis Vuitton bags that I've genuinely really liked, especially the ones that were was there were a few that were based on like Monet paintings and they were gorgeous and I love them. Used used on a thrifting website, as well as it was discounted from the thrifting price. A Louis Vuitton bag was $1,500. That's fucking ridiculous. I would rather practice, gain some painting skills myself, learn how to leather craft, and make my goddamn self for $1,500. But for some people, the $1,500 is worth it. Fine, whatever. Does not make you better. I'm sorry. I'm this elitist thing on look at how much money I can spend on a non-essential item. I'm just like, good for you. You wasted money. I don't care. Like, some of you may argue with me saying that it's an investment. I don't really care, honestly. I genuinely don't care how you spend your money. I just don't like the idea that you think that and I'm not talking about anyone who does do this. I'm talking about justice mostly, but I don't understand how you can think that just because you spent more money on something that it's somehow like, and if someone doesn't know what this is, I'm so sorry. Why the fuck are you sorry? I don't care. Like, I guarantee that I know niche shit that you don't either. It doesn't matter. It does not matter. I don't know why this rubbed me the wrong way so much, but it really fucking did.
Me, does this queen look like she was born in 1987? All of that, she's literally glowing. The girls are finally seeing the light. I used to be so insecure about having chubby cheeks because I could always see how much weight I've gained because I carry it in my face. But over the last couple of years, as buccal fat removal and Botox in the masseters has gotten a little bit more trendy, you cannot tell me that these girls do not look at least 5 years older than they actually are. Which in this moment, we're not thinking too much of it. People in their 20s and their 30s getting this. But I think in like 20 years, these girls are going to come onto the internet and they're going to be like, I wish I would have never gotten it. I just think it's really ironic because I feel like once you get to like the 40s and 50s, you're wanting anything that will make you more plump and like voluptuous in the face. And people are like removing it in their 20s. So maybe we're going to have like face BBLs in 20 years. I don't know. What I do know is that the girls with chubby cheeks in 10 to 20 years, we're going to be looking fine. We're going to be looking exactly like we do in our 20s. So
One, that's an unrealistic expectation to look like your 20s and your 40s. And I come from a like in my family, the women live forever and look 10 years younger than our age. That is just a thing. I was at 24, people were still asking me, "Oh, what are you going into your junior year in high school? Are you excited for your graduation in a couple of years?" Like that was literally something that was being asked of me when I was like 24. My mom at 35 was refused they refused to serve her alcohol even though she had her ID because they thought the ID was fake and that she was under 21. It's just a thing with my family. The women live a long time and we tend to look younger than we are. But none of us have ever looked 20 years younger in our 40s and look 20. It just doesn't happen. I'm sorry. I think that is a massively unrealistic expectation. For anyone who's wondering about the men, because I keep saying women, the men, there hasn't been a man that reached retirement age in my family in generations. And the one that did, it was about 4 generations ago, died at 67. And the two main causes of male death in my family is cancer and abject stupidity. So, uh, so I'm going to go off on a small tangent. I'm going to give you an example of the abject stupidity of some of the men in my family. Man, this was a few generations back, but it's something that sticks with me. And it was a man in my family that um, was diagnosed as hard of hearing, but still insisted on taking his daily walk on the train tracks. And I will let you assume how he died from there. Anyway, so that being said, I do agree that I think that whole buccal fat movement was absolutely fucking stupid. Absolutely dumb. It's one, there's fat in your cheeks for a reason. So removing that fat, you're removing some of the cushioning for if you get smacked in the face or whatever for your teeth. Like there's so many issues with buccal fat removal. I think it's dumb. I do. I think it's dumb. But this what I find interesting is though is that her argument is, see, don't worry about this beauty standard because ignoring this beauty standard will serve this beauty standard in 10, 20 years. Like, do you see what you're doing? You know? Yeah, you may not be the beauty standard of thin, but you can have the youthful beauty standard of older women when you're older. See, you can fit in that beauty standard when you're older. Why is that a selling point? But anyway, I think I'm gonna leave it here. I'm still catching up on my manhwa, so I really don't. I'm afraid I still, again, don't have much to say on that. Um, I have also been. I did find so with the whole everyone going to like Red Note and stuff. Um, I was looking at Chinese learning apps, and there's this app called Hello Chinese, and it's essentially Duolingo but only for Chinese, and it's like an expanded version of Duolingo that is really helpful, and you can really hear the tones in it, unlike the Duolingo Mandarin version. Like you can really hear the tones, and they walk you through the tones in Japanese language. So or not Japanese, Chinese language. I would recommend it. I've also been going through a bunch of practice makes perfect language books and learning like far more languages than I think I'll be able to stick with, but I've been having a good time with it. Other than that, I've primarily been I have been watching Bridgerton while I've been working on my Hello Kitty quilt, which I am nearing the end. Thank God. I'm so tired of this quilt now. And I will say, like, I just got to the end of season 3, episode 4. My God, the carriage scene went on too long for me. Like, I understand part of the appeal, I guess, of Bridgerton is the sex scenes. At least that's what my sister told me. I just like that it was a period piece, and I like the dynamic of um Lady Whistledown and hiding her identity, and will they find out? Will they not find out? And the kind of interpersonal drama going on. That's why I like Bridgerton. But apparently the sex scenes are a big part of its appeal. I don't really understand it. I feel most of them are shoehorned in, and those that aren't don't need to be as gratuitous as they are. But again, that's me. You like what you like. Good on you. Um, but I think that's where we're gonna end it today. So we'll see if I can do another year in the TikTok in the future. Sorry to not have some of you really enjoyed the manhwa and the game talk. I'm going into my big testing window of the year for my kids, and that's primarily where my brain has been. Plus, I'm still working out shit with the district and trying to get them to honor my contract and all of that. So it's just been, I have not had the brain power for reading as much as I would like lately. Um, and I feel actually like I'm having a hard time concentrating on any one thing for too long. So I'm on a nice 3-day weekend though, so that is going to kind of, I think, help me recenter. And I am going to spend a good portion of my weekend reading the manhwa that I've been missing. So overall, pretty good. And let me know if you're learning a language. If you're learning a language, please let me know what it is in the comments because I would love to have people to kind of share resources with. But I think that's about it. Some of you were really sweet and voiced that you would like my channel still, even if I switched focus, and that you would be sad if I left. And I want you guys to know that those comments meant the world to me, and I really appreciate them. Thank you so much. And chances are, I honestly, I've really grown to love this channel and the little niche community that I have. I don't know what I'm going to do going forward, especially with the TikTok ban. I don't know what that looks like, but we're just going to keep on going and I think I think we'll settle someplace. We might be in a transition period for a while, in which case I will be relying a lot on your opinions of what kind of videos you like and what content you've enjoyed. But anyway, I think okay, I'm gonna leave it there. Thank you so much for watching. Take care of yourselves, and I will see you next time.